Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. Today I wanted to talk about a graphic novel that I read several years ago. It's I love the comics, not so much recently. Older stuff, definitely. Spider-Man is my favorite. Spider-Man, Captain America, definitely my top two. Batman is up there as well. Anyway, I was at the library probably back in high school. I mean, this is quite a while back, as this is a DC comic imprint, and they don't print this particular comic anymore. But it's called the Sovereign Seven, and you can see them there on the cover. Anyway, I picked this up at the library because as a kid, liked comics and wanted to take a look. So I read this one, and I very much enjoyed it. This is actually one of the comics by Chris Claremont. I'm trying to... Chris Claremont is pretty prolific as far as the comics go. Let's see, he did Uncanny X-Men, New Mutants, Captain Britain, Excalibur, Wolverine, Fantastic Four, Ms. Marvel, Iron Fist, Extreme X-Men. He did a ton. And obviously that was mostly Marvel there, but he also did a lot with DC as well. In fact, he also wrote Chronicles of the Shadow War trilogy, which is Shadow Moon, Shadow Dawn, and Shadow Star, which he co-wrote with George Lucas, which is the follow-up trilogy to the Willow movie. So yeah. So he's done quite a bit. Anyway, there's a lot more on here. He's just the one name that I recognize. Anyway, the Sovereign Seven are a little bit unique in the kind of superhero team genre, because each of these people on the team, there are 7 of them, that's why they're called the Sovereign Seven, but each of them is also a prince or a ruler of their home planet, and so they are sovereigns. They are princesses, rulers, magistrates in their own right, over whatever world they came from. Although it's more like they are monarchs in exile. Each of their planets was lost to something called the Rapture. The graphic novel that I read doesn't really go into what the Rapture is, only that it takes over planets, and because it takes over the planets, the inhabitants kind of are brainwashed by it, and they end up serving the Rapture. Well, Cascade, she's the one at the top. She is again a little bit different. The planet she's on is not taken over by the Rapture. It's basically ruled with an iron fist by her mother. Her mother is an ally of Darkseid's, and she is confined to this planet. She cannot leave it. She has nowhere to go, and so she basically rules over this planet. She finds out that her daughter has the ability to teleport. She can basically go anywhere she'd like to go, and as such, she tries to manipulate her daughter into, or force her daughter into, freeing her from the planet that she is on, which, yeah, doesn't go very well. Next on the team, if we go down from the top, the next on the team is... I'm trying to remember what her identity is. I knew it a second ago. It's kind of weird. Finale. That was what it was. I keep getting her mixed up with Indigo. So, Finale. Her name is Finale. She comes from a tropical island world. There's a lot of Hawaiian island, Pacific Islander type influences in her name, in her costume, in her attitudes. She does not like water and goes to great lengths to avoid it. It's kind of strange, being that she's from a kind of a water type planet, but there you go. Next on the list we have Cruiser. Cruiser's real name is Nicholas Helicon. One of the reasons I had problems with Finale is that her name is Pahelelani Favela, I believe is how you should pronounce that. And let me actually back up. I forgot to talk about her ability. She is a swords master, and she's very fast, very agile, but she will master any weapon that comes into her possession. It doesn't matter what it is, she will quickly become the master of that weapon, possibly near instantaneous. And then we have Nicholas. Nicholas is a telekinetic, a very powerful telekinetic. The rulers of this planet were all very powerful telekinetics, and he is of the ruling line, and so he has that ability. His abilities, interestingly enough, are somewhat different than other telekinetics. His body fuels his telekinesis. So he always is eating, because his metabolism just burns through those calories when he's using his powers. And he can use his powers for to move just about any object. He often uses it to make himself fly, which is why he's called Cruiser. Next on the list is Indigo. Indigo is an interesting case. Not much is known about him. His abilities are that he has a very tactical mind, very tactical, very analytic mind, and he is highly charismatic. Anytime he sits down with somebody, he can almost always get them to do what he wants. But his actual ability is that it's not that he's invisible, he's unnoticeable. There's an X-Man that I think is somewhat similar, only Indigo has the ability to control his powers. If he doesn't want you to notice him, you don't. You can't notice him. You don't know that he's even there. But he's their tactician. If they need some plan or whatever to overcome the bad guys or whatever, they go to Indigo for their plans. Next is Taryn Haldane. Her name is Cascade, her code name. She is a telepath. Now, her telepathy is interesting. Apparently, if she's not around people, she's completely dependent on other people to be able to communicate. It's not that she can't speak. It's that when there's no one around her, she cannot speak. She cannot read. She cannot speak. She has to have that connection to people to be able to tell how to use language, to be able to read and write and all that, and that kind of stuff. She's actually the person tasked with keeping the team together. Cascade can get people places, but she needs network to, one, help her figure out where she's going. She obviously can teleport just about anywhere, and she can teleport across vast distances, interstellar distances even, but she needs to have network to be able to increase her range. So without network, her teleportation range is much more limited. And if teleport can lock onto somebody's mind, then Cascade can use that as a waypoint, as I want to be where that person is, and can then teleport there. And then Network keeps track of the other Sovereign Seven and links them all together so that, one, they know what each other's doing, and then if needed, Cascade can grab everybody and move across wherever they need to go. The next one is Rampart. Rampart, his name is Jafar ibn Harun al-Rashid. Hopefully I said that correctly. But he is... You can kind of tell by his name that he was inspired by like a Muslim type community, or I'm not exactly sure how to say that, but basically has Muslim inspiration in his character creation. His name is Rampart. Codename is Rampart, and his ability is the ability to make ramparts. He can project force fields in geometric patterns, and so he can cover just about anything and everything with some sort of force field, and it takes a lot of effort to break those force fields. He's very, very strong. The last person in the group is Walter Thorson, a Viking kind of inspired character. He has super speed and reflexes. It's really weird because he is the largest member of the group. He is just enormous. He towers over everybody, but he's kind of that gentle giant type character in that he can dodge just about anything. Almost no one can touch him. Anyway, that's the Sovereign Seven. That's kind of their powers. The graphic novel starts out with Cruiser. Cruiser is on his home planet. He's trying to rescue his family and his fiancée from the rapture. He fakes being a normal soldier to infiltrate the palace, and as he gets in there, he starts hearing Cascade and Network's voices. They're talking to him. They're telling him that they have a way to get him off planet. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. I got to save my family, etc., etc. And through the course of the first adventure, the Sovereign Seven is finally gathered. They convince Cruiser that he needs to leave with them. That it's not safe on his planet, and there's really nothing he can do against the rapture to save his family right then and there. And so they've been brainwashed too, and to the point where his fiancée attacks him in order to try to convince him to join them. One of the best things about this particular graphic novel is when they leave Cruiser's planet, they go to a space station, and I forget which space station it is off the top of my head. Intergalactic space station. They've got tons of alien species there. Cascade leaves them to go pick up Network and to because Network is on the planet with her mother, and that's kind of when her mother figures out that Cascade can actually leave the planet where she can't. But anyway, one of the funniest things is when they're on this space station, they come across two very well-known, in the one case, well-beloved, well-known characters from DC. They come across Lobo. And they actually have a fight with Lobo. It's pretty interesting, the fight that they have with Lobo. And some of the things that they do. I really liked the way that Indigo outsmarted Lobo. And not that they could actually do anything about Lobo, but the other character that they come into contact with at that time is Big Barda, one of the new gods. No, she's not one of the new gods. She is one of the female Furies at one point, if I remember right. So she was actually a villain who worked under Darkseid, served under Darkseid. So they run into both Big Barda and Lobo on this space station, and the interaction between them is really quite interesting, quite funny. Especially the last scene with Lobo. That's something to really look forward to. Anyway, that being said, they end up on Earth eventually after their time on the space station is over, and they end up working at kind of it's an inn that's called Crossroads, and it's one of those weird places where you can walk through a door and end up somewhere else. And you never know when you're going to be or where you're going to be if you're not careful. There's also actually an interaction that they have with Batman, a brief interaction. At least in this novel. From what I gathered, they did eventually go to Gotham City and may have helped Batman in some way later, but that's not depicted in this particular graphic novel. So I really liked The Sovereign Seven. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the artwork. The cover seems a bit crude, but it was interesting to see kind of this intergalactic group of superheroes that has some weird interactions with things on Earth. Anyway, that's it for today. If you've read The Sovereign Seven, let me know. Let me know what you thought. If you're not really a big fan of comics, hey, let me know. Tell me why. If you are a big fan of comics, hey, tell me why. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite superhero? Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. And until like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff. Comment down below and enjoy what you're reading.